Welcome back, CoinQuest collectors and history buffs. Today we are diving deep into the fascinating story behind the 1964 Abraham Lincoln 1-cent penny. What makes this seemingly ordinary coin so valuable, and why are collectors willing to pay thousands of dollars for certain versions of it? Let us break down the full history, the production details, rare varieties, and current market value so you know exactly what to look for in your change jar. Let us begin with a little history. The Lincoln penny was first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. It was the first United States coin to feature a real historical figure, and the design was created by Victor David Brenner. His initials can actually be found on the reverse of some earlier issues, but for the 1964 penny the design was already well established, with Lincoln's bust on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, a change that took place in 1959 to mark Lincoln's 150th birthday. Now 1964 was a significant year in American coinage history. The U.S. Mint was experiencing a major coin shortage due to increased use of vending machines and other coin-operated devices. So in 1964 the Mint ramped up penny production in a massive way. More than 6.4 billion pennies were struck that year. That includes over 3 billion from the Philadelphia Mint and over 3 billion from the Denver Mint, where the coins carry a small d mint mark under the date. With billions of coins produced, you might wonder what makes the 1964 penny special or valuable. Here is the secret. While most 1964 pennies are common and only worth face value or a few cents in circulated condition, there are certain rare errors and high-grade examples that make these coins worth a lot of money. One of the key factors that determine value is the condition of the coin. Collectors use a grading scale from poor all the way to mint state in proof conditions. For example, a 1964 Lincoln cent that is graded MS67 red can sell for hundreds and even over $1,000. That is because red examples with no visible wear or damage are incredibly hard to find after decades in circulation. Next, we need to talk about errors. This is where things get really exciting. Some of the most valuable 1964 pennies are mint errors. These include double dies, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and coins struck on the wrong metal planchets. Let me explain what these are. A double die error happens when the die that stamps the coin gets misaligned and imprints the design twice. You can often see doubling on the words "Liberty and God We Trust" or the date 1964. This can dramatically increase a coin's value depending on how strong the doubling is. Another rare error is when a penny is struck on a dime planchet or another type of metal. These off-metal strikes are incredibly rare and can be worth thousands. A known example of a 1964 penny struck on a silver dime planchet once sold for over $10,000 at auction. That is a 1-cent coin turning into a 5-figure payday. You should also keep your eyes open for coins with repunched mint marks. This happens when the mint mark D is punched into the die more than once in slightly different positions. These can be subtle, so you might need a magnifying glass, but they are worth hunting for, as some examples fetch over $100. Now you may be wondering, what is the best way to determine if your 1964 penny is valuable? First, inspect the color. Red pennies are more desirable than brown or red-brown. Next, check for mint errors or die varieties. You can use coin reference guides or online databases to compare images. Then consider the coin's overall condition. If your penny has sharp details, a bright luster, and no scratches or marks, it might be worth getting it professionally graded by a service like PCGS or NGC. Let us talk real numbers. What are collectors paying for 1964 pennies in today's market? A regular circulated 1964 penny might only be worth 1 to 5 cents. A red example graded MS65 could be worth between $5 and $20. An MS66 red might sell for $40 to $100. An MS67 red has been known to fetch over $1,000 at auction. That is just for condition alone. Now add an error and the value skyrockets. A 1964 double die obverse penny in high grade could sell for over $500. A 1964 D repunched mint mark penny might bring in $200 to $300, and a rare off-metal strike or a dramatic die cap error can reach thousands. Before we wrap up, let us touch on the difference between business strikes and proof coins. Although the U.S. Mint did not strike proof coins in 1964 for general circulation, there are special coins known as special mint sets or SMS. These were not issued in 1964 but are often confused with high-quality coins from that period. So if you find a really sharp 1964 penny with a mirror-like surface, it might be a specially struck coin, or it could just be a high-grade business strike. Either way, it is worth further investigation. In summary, while most 1964 Lincoln pennies are common and found in nearly every penny jar across America, certain varieties and conditions can make them incredibly valuable. Whether it is a high-grade red example or a dramatic mint error, this little coin from over 50 years ago could be worth far more than just 1 cent. So check your change, search through your old jars, and maybe even raid your parents' or grandparents' coin collections. You never know when you might strike copper gold with a rare 1964 penny. Thanks for watching, and if you found this video helpful or interesting, please hit the like button and subscribe for more deep dives into coin values, rare errors, and collectible currency. Until next time, keep collecting and keep looking. Today we're diving deep into a coin that might be sitting in your pocket change or tucked away in an old coin jar. That's right, we're talking about the 1977 Lincoln penny. You may have seen it 1,000 times, but did you know that some versions of this penny could be worth far more than just 1 cent and maybe even hundreds or thousands of dollars? In this video we're going to uncover the story behind the 1977 Lincoln 1-cent coin, explore its history, and see what makes certain examples extremely valuable. So sit tight, grab your magnifying glass, and let's find out if you've got a small fortune hiding in plain sight. First things first, let's talk about the basics. The 1977 Lincoln penny features the familiar profile of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. This design by Victor David Brenner has been in use since 1909 and remains one of the longest-running coin designs in U.S. history. On the obverse or front of the coin you'll see Lincoln facing right with the words "In God We Trust" at the top, Liberty to the left, and the date 1977 to the right. Below the date, if your coin has a little D mint mark, that means it was minted in Denver. If there's no letter, then it was minted in Philadelphia. Now let's talk mintage. In 1977 over 4 billion pennies were struck between the Philadelphia and Denver mints. That means these coins are generally quite common and found in circulation easily. But don't let the large numbers fool you, because value is not just about how many were made but about condition, rarity, and errors. Let's talk about condition first. The condition of a coin is graded using a scale from 1 to 70 known as the Sheldon scale. A coin in average circulated condition might only be worth face value or a few cents to a collector. But a 1977 penny in mint state condition, especially those graded MS-65 or higher, can fetch several dollars. If the coin is in MS-67 red condition with its original copper luster intact and no signs of wear or contact marks, you could be looking at a coin worth between $100 and $500. Some examples graded MS-67 red by PCGS have sold for more than $700 at auction. Now let's get into the fun part, the valuable errors. This is where things can get really interesting and where your penny could be worth a lot more than you'd ever expect. Error coins are highly collectible because they're rare. In 1977, some pennies were struck with off-center errors. This means the design is not properly aligned on the planchet and part of the coin is blank. Depending on how dramatic the off-center strike is, these can be worth anywhere from $20 to over $150. There are also double die pennies from 1977, although they're not as well known as the famous 1955 version. A double die error happens during the minting process when the die used to strike the coin shifts slightly and causes a doubling effect, usually most visible on the lettering or the date. If you have a 1977 penny with clear doubling on Liberty or In God We Trust, it might be a double die, and that can push the value well into the hundreds. Let's not forget about repunched mint marks or RPMs. On Denver minted coins, the D mint mark was punched into the die separately. Sometimes it was punched more than once, causing what collectors call a repunched mint mark. These RPMs are sought after by collectors and can be worth $10 to $50 depending on the severity and condition. Now here's something that surprises a lot of people. The 1977 Lincoln penny is made of 95% copper and 5% zinc. Because of the copper content, the metal value alone is actually more than 1 cent. However, it's important to note that it's currently illegal to melt U.S. pennies for their metal content, so even though the copper is worth more, you can't legally sell it for scrap, but that doesn't mean your penny isn't valuable. In fact, coin collectors pay a premium for beautifully preserved or unusual coins, especially those with toning or unique eye appeal. Toning is a natural discoloration that can create rainbow-like effects on the coin surface. Some collectors go crazy for tone coins, and if you happen to have a 1977 penny with beautiful toning, it might be worth much more to the right buyer. Let's take a look at some recent market sales. As of this year, a 1977 penny graded MS-67 red by PCGS sold for around $900 in an online auction. A double die example in excellent condition sold for over $400. And several off-center errors sold between $50 and $150. These are real prices paid by real collectors, not just theoretical values. So what should you do if you think you have a valuable 1977 penny? First, examine it carefully under good lighting. Use a magnifying glass or loupe and look for any doubling, mint mark, oddities, off-center designs, or even unusual coloration. If the coin looks perfect with full red color and no visible scratches or wear, then you might have a high-grade specimen. Consider submitting it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. A graded coin has a certified value, and that can really help you if you decide to sell it. Before we wrap up, here's a quick bonus tip. Always check both sides of your coins. Some valuable errors are on the reverse or tail side of the coin. While the reverse design from 1959 to 2008 features the Lincoln Memorial, it's still possible to find reverse die crackscuds or other varieties that add to a coin's uniqueness and value. In summary, the 1977 Lincoln 1-cent coin is a great example of how everyday coins can become collectible treasures. While most are only worth a penny, some carry serious value due to condition, rarity, or minting errors. Whether you're a new collector or just curious about what's in your coin jar, this is a coin worth paying attention to. Thanks for watching, and if you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more coin collecting tips and rare coin discoveries. Let us know in the comments if you found any rare 1977 pennies or other treasures in your change. Until next time, keep collecting and happy hunting, where we dig into history and uncover hidden treasure right in your pocket change. Today, we're talking about the 1981-cent penny coin featuring the face of Abraham Lincoln. You might have a few of these lying around at home, but what you may not know is that some of them are worth a whole lot more than just 1 cent. That's right, certain 1980 Lincoln pennies can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars to the right collector. So make sure you watch until the very end so you don't miss any of the valuable details. First, let's start with a bit of background. The Lincoln penny has been in circulation since 1909. That was the year it was first minted to commemorate the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States and one of the most respected figures in American history. The original design was by Victor David Brenner, and it featured Lincoln's bust on the obverse side, that's the front of the coin, with 2 wheat stalks on the reverse. That wheat design was used up until 1958. Then in 1959, to mark the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth and the 50th anniversary of the coin, the reverse was changed to feature the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. That design, by Frank Gasparo, remained in use all the way until 2008. So the 1980 penny falls squarely in that Lincoln Memorial era, and that makes it one of the more common coins in circulation. But not all 1980 pennies are created equal. The first thing to know about the 1980 Lincoln penny is that it was struck in large quantities. The U.S. Mint produced pennies at 3 facilities that year: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. You can tell where your coin was minted by looking just below the date. If there's no mint mark, it was made in Philadelphia. A small d means it came from Denver. An S means it was struck at the San Francisco Mint. In 1980, the Philadelphia Mint actually used the P mint mark on other coins like the nickel and the dime, but not on the penny. So the absence of a mint mark on a 1980 penny means Philadelphia. Now, let's talk about what makes some of these coins valuable. It's not just about age. Most 1980 pennies are worth face value. But a few key factors can drive up the price dramatically. Condition is everything. A coin that's been circulating for decades and has scratches and wear is going to be worth very little to a collector. But if you have an uncirculated coin, or even better, a coin graded mint state by a professional coin grading service, you might be sitting on a small fortune. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70. A coin that's graded MS65 or higher, that's mint state 65, is considered to be in excellent condition, almost perfect. For a 1980 Lincoln penny in MS65 condition, the price can range from $10 to $50, depending on the mint mark and other factors. But that's just the beginning. The real money is in the error coins. That's right, mistakes can be worth a lot more than perfection in the world of coin collecting. Some 1980 pennies have what's called a double die error. This happens when the coin is struck twice by the die, resulting in a doubling of the image, especially visible in the date, the lettering, or Lincoln's profile. A 1980 penny with a noticeable double die error can be worth hundreds of dollars, even in circulated condition. Another rare error is the off-center strike. This occurs when the coin blank isn't properly aligned with the dies during the minting process. The result is a coin that looks lopsided or even missing part of the design. Depending on the degree of the misalignment, these coins can fetch serious money from collectors, sometimes $50 to $200 or more. Then there are transitional errors. In 1982, the composition of the penny changed from 95% copper to a copper-plated zinc planchet. But in 1980, all pennies were still made of mostly copper. If somehow a planchet of the wrong composition was used, you'd have what's called a transitional error, and those are extremely rare and extremely valuable. One such coin could be worth thousands of dollars, but even regular 1980 pennies have some value due to their copper content. Since these coins are 95% copper and 5% zinc, and copper prices have gone up over the years, the melt value, that is, the value of the raw metal, is worth more than 1 cent. However, it is illegal to melt down pennies for their metal content in the United States, so this is more of a theoretical value. Still, it does add to the appeal for some collectors. Now let's break it down by mint mark. The 1980 penny with no mint mark from Philadelphia had a mintage of over 7.4 billion coins. That's a huge number, so these are very common. In circulated condition, they're only worth face value. But in uncirculated condition, or with errors, the value climbs. The 1980 D penny from Denver had an even higher mintage, over 5.1 billion. Again, common, but look for high-grade versions or errors. The 1980 S penny was not issued for circulation. It was a proof coin made especially for collectors. These coins are shinier, have more detail, and were sold in special sets. A 1980 S proof penny in pristine condition can sell for $5 to $10 or more. But again, if there's a rare error or it's in an especially high grade, the value increases. As of today's coin market, prices for rare 1980 Lincoln pennies have shown steady demand. Collectors are always looking for that perfect coin or that rare error they don't already have. Auction houses have seen sales of 1980 pennies go for hundreds of dollars when the coin has the right combination of rarity, condition, and eye appeal. Some coins have even reached over $1,000 in auctions if the error is dramatic enough. So, what should you do if you think you have a valuable 1980 penny? First, check the condition. Is it shiny, sharp, and clean? Next, examine it for errors. Look closely at the date, the words "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and "United States of America." If any letters look doubled or misaligned, that's a good sign. Look at Lincoln's profile and see if the strike seems off-center or unusual. We recommend using a jeweler's loupe or magnifying glass for close inspection. And if you think you found something rare, send it in to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. Their authentication and grading will give your coin legitimacy and help it sell for its full value. To sum it up, the 1980 Lincoln penny might seem like an ordinary coin, but it holds a lot of potential. Whether it's copper content, high-grade condition, or a rare error, there are many ways this little coin can turn into big money. And that's why coin collecting is so exciting. You never know what treasure you might have in your pocket, in your change jar, or tucked away in a drawer. Thanks for watching and learning with us today. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more about valuable coins, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss future videos. Let us know in the comments if you found any rare pennies or have questions about your coin collection. Until next time, happy collecting and may your change always be golden. Today we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating and surprisingly valuable coins in American numismatic history, the 1982 Abraham Lincoln 1-cent penny. Now at first glance you might be thinking it is just another regular old penny, but let me tell you, this coin holds a unique place in coin collecting history, and depending on which version you have, it could be worth a small fortune today. So grab a cup of coffee, sit back, and let us journey through the curious case of the 1982 Lincoln penny. Let us start with a bit of background. The Lincoln cent has been in production since 1909 to celebrate the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. It was designed by Victor David Brenner and was the first regularly circulating U.S. coin to feature a real person. The coin has gone through several changes over the years, but one of the biggest transitions happened in 1982. 1980. The United States Mint made a major decision. They changed the composition of the penny for over 2 decades. The penny had been made mostly of copper, 95% copper and 5% zinc to be exact. However, due to the rising cost of copper, it began costing more than 1 cent just to produce a penny, so the mint switched the composition to mostly zinc with only a thin copper coating. Starting mid-year in 1982, they transitioned to this new composition. That means both copper and zinc versions of the penny were produced in the same year. This created 7 different varieties of the 1982 Lincoln cent. And some of these are extremely rare. Let us break down the 7 known types of 1982 pennies. There are large date and small date varieties for both the copper and zinc compositions. That gives us 4 versions right there. Then there are 3 additional versions which are distinguished by their mint marks. These include coins minted in Philadelphia which have no mint mark, and coins from Denver which do include a D mint mark. The rarest and most sought after version is the 1982 D small date copper penny. This coin should not even exist, but a few accidentally slipped out during the transition process. Experts believe fewer than 20 of these are known to exist today. So how do you tell which penny you have? The first step is to check the weight. A copper penny from 1982 will weigh about 3.1 grams, while a zinc penny will weigh about 2.5 grams. You will need a precise digital scale to check this. Next, examine the date on the front of the coin, the large date and small date. Varieties have subtle differences. You can usually see the difference in the shape of the numbers, especially the number 2 and the number 8. The small date version has thinner and more delicate numerals, while the large date version has bolder digits. Now let us talk value. This is where things get exciting. Most 1982 Lincoln cents you will find in pocket change are worth face value, but certain varieties can be worth a lot more, especially in pristine condition as of now. Copper large date 1982. Pennies in uncirculated condition can fetch between 50 cents and $2. Zinc varieties in uncirculated shape might bring in $1 or $2 as well, but the big money is in the rare types. The 1982 small date copper penny, if authenticated, can sell for thousands. In fact, one sold for over $18,000 at auction. That is right, $18,000 for a penny. That is because the coin is considered in error. It was never meant to be struck in copper with the small date style. At the Denver Mint, even other 1982 small date copper coins from Philadelphia, not Denver, are worth significantly more than face value, especially if they are in mint state condition. So what should you do if you have a bunch of 1982 pennies lying around? First, sort them by mint mark and date. Look closely at the shape of the date and if possible weigh each one using a precision scale. If you find one that weighs around 3.1 grams and has a small date with a D mint mark, you might just have a treasure on your hands. Be careful though, there are fakes and counterfeits out there. The best way to confirm what you have is to send your coin to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. They can authenticate the coin and give it an official grade, which significantly increases its market value. Collectors love coins with interesting backstories, and transitional years like 1982 are always hot topics in the numismatic world. This 1 cent coin represents more than just a piece of money. It marks a turning point in U.S. mint policy and stands as a reminder that even the smallest things can become valuable under the right circumstances. To wrap things up, the 1982 Lincoln penny is a sleeper coin. It may look ordinary, but if you take the time to learn its secrets and inspect your change carefully, you could end up with a penny worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. So check your drawers, your jars, your old piggy banks. You never know what might be sitting there waiting to change your life. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button and subscribe for more coin stories, values, and collecting tips. Until next time, keep hunting and may your next penny be a rare one, where we uncover the hidden treasures in your pocket change and the stories behind every coin. Today we are diving deep into one of the most common yet surprisingly fascinating coins in circulation, the 1994 Abraham Lincoln 1 cent penny coin. You might be thinking it's just a penny, but believe it or not, some of these coins could be worth way more than 1 cent. If you've got a jar of old change or inherited a coin collection, you might just be sitting on something valuable. First, let's talk about the history of the Lincoln penny. Introduced in 1909, the Lincoln cent marked the first time a real person was featured on a circulating American coin. Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, was chosen to honor the centennial of his birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the coin originally featured his initials VDB on the reverse, a small detail that sparked controversy among numismatists and collectors alike. The wheat ears on the back were replaced in 1959 with the Lincoln memorial to commemorate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. That design continued through 2008. The 1994 Lincoln cent is part of that long-running memorial reverse series. It was minted at 3 different locations that year: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia mint coins have no mint mark. Denver coins have a small d, and San Francisco coins, which were only made as proofs, have an S mint mark. In terms of numbers, the Philadelphia mint produced over 6 billion Lincoln cents in 1994. The Denver Mint struck over 7 billion and the San Francisco Mint produced nearly 3 million proof coins. That's a staggering amount of pennies, and it's why most 1994 pennies in average condition are still only worth face value. But as always, the key lies in the condition, rarity, and any unique minting errors. Now here's where things get exciting. Not all 1994 pennies are created equal. Collectors are always on the lookout for coins in pristine uncirculated condition, also known as mint state. These coins can be worth a lot more than a cent. A 1994 penny graded MS67 or higher by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC can fetch anywhere from $25 to $150 depending on demand and eye appeal. But wait, it gets better. There are also error coins from 1994 that have sold for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. These include off-center strikes, double dies, wrong planchet errors, clipped planchets, and die cracks. Some rare 1994 pennies have been found with a double die reverse wear parts of the Lincoln Memorial appear doubled. These are very rare, but when verified they can be worth serious money. Another extremely rare type is when a penny was accidentally struck on a zinc planchet meant for a foreign coin or with missing elements like the outer copper layer. These kinds of errors can easily push a penny's value into the hundreds. Some off-metal errors from 1994 have even sold at auction for over $1,000, especially when authenticated by a third party. If you want to know whether your 1994 penny is worth more than a cent, start by checking the mint mark, then examine it under magnification. Look for any doubling, especially on the date or lettering, or any abnormalities around the rim edges or Lincoln's profile. If your penny looks perfectly centered and uncirculated with no blemishes, you may want to get it graded. Now let's talk about the current market value in 2025. Common circulated 1994 Lincoln pennies with no errors are still generally worth just 1 cent. However, uncirculated coins in mint state 65 or better are currently selling for anywhere between $5 and $20 depending on the mint and the buyer. For proof coins from San Francisco with that shiny mirror finish, if still sealed in original government packaging, they could be worth between $3 and $7 each. When it comes to error coins from 1994, the value depends on rarity and condition. A confirmed double die 1994 penny in high grade could bring in $300 to $500 or more off center strikes, especially those missing a significant portion of the design, can sell for over $100. Wrong planchet errors are the real jackpot, with auction results showing prices ranging from $500 to over $2,000. So how do you cash in on a valuable 1994 penny? The first step is research. Use reliable numismatic websites and price guides to compare your coin with known varieties. Next, consider submitting it to a professional grading service if you believe it has real potential. Coin grading does cost money, so only do this if you believe the value will justify the expense. Finally, list it for sale on platforms like eBay or through coin dealers, or attend a coin show to speak with experts in person. Before you toss that 1994 penny into the change jar or vending machine, take a moment to inspect it. You could be holding onto a tiny piece of American history and possibly a little treasure in disguise. Always remember, the world of coin collecting is full of surprises and values can fluctuate as new discoveries are made and demand changes. If you found this video helpful, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the history and hidden value of coins in your pocket. Comment below if you have a 1994 penny and tell us what mint mark it has, or if you've ever found an interesting error coin. Thanks for watching, and until next time, keep collecting and happy hunting.